Hey, what's good, y'all? My name is Kalen, and on this channel, we hold men accountable for the dumb, stupid, selfish, and outright evil things that we do very casually that should not be acceptable in any civilized society whatsoever. And today's topic is unfortunately no exception to this, and I'm going to warn you right now, it is not a light topic at all. An influencer was killed by her estranged husband after she exposed him as a predator of a literal child. And we'll get to all the details of that in just a moment. But to give you the gist of it, Sarah Gilson was her name. And she was a TikTok influencer for the most part. I'm sure she probably had other social media accounts like Instagram, Twitter, things like that. But mostly I've seen her content on TikTok. She often modeled clothes and things like that from various stores and brands and things of that nature. And she was married to another influencer by the name of Duff Daddy, um, way too close to Puff Daddy. And honestly, the actions that he committed doesn't surprise me when somebody would liken themselves to such a horrendous person, such as P. Diddy. So, where the story essentially begins is her husband um, had some inappropriate interactions with a 13-year-old female basketball player and was exposed by one of the coaches and a parent of that teammate. And obviously, her wife caught wind of this as he was arrested and charged for this. So there really wasn't a whole lot of debate to be had about it. And she went on TikTok and posted a video following a trend of me preparing for the Netflix documentary because I just found out that my husband is a pedo. And then a few weeks later, he came to her house despite a protective order and attacked and shot and killed both her and himself. This whole story is absolutely horrifying. And before we continue, let me show you the video I just talked about. This is the video that she made before the tragic events unfolded. So that's the video. First and foremost, there's a couple things I want to mention right away, and it's that there's people out there who are so out of their goddamn minds that they are blaming her for posting this video and essentially provoking him into this action. Now, that is an absolutely brain dead, horrifying take, and it's why I'm so fucking disappointed with my half of the human demographic, men in particular, because that is the type of brain dead, outright maniacal take. Um, there is no video in the world that you can post on social media that should result in a man coming to your home and attacking you violently and taking your life. There really is no way to sit here and try to blame her for posting this video. I mean, this is exposing somebody who's a dangerous pedophile is something that shouldn't be punishable, especially not by death. Now, there's obviously a broader topic that I want to talk about overall, which we'll get to later on in this video. But I just also want to talk about this realization in and of itself that, that her husband, it turns out to be a child predator. I mean, that realization in and of itself has to be absolutely horrifying. You're building a life with somebody, you think you can trust them, and then out of nowhere you find out that behind the scenes that they're talking to literal teenage girls from a basketball team and trying to have sexual relations with them. I mean, that's just horrifying. I mean, in such a short amount of time, I mean, how are you supposed to know exactly what you're supposed to do? And she was smart in that she went and got herself a protective order, but unfortunately, protective order is a piece of paper that doesn't actually protect anyone, because clearly this guy has no respect for the law or anything like that. He's clearly very morally compromised, where he thinks that trying to have relations with a 13-year-old, which is a crime, which is a serious, serious crime, he thinks he can do that. He clearly has no regard for the law whatsoever, and a piece of paper is not going to stop him from doing anything that he wants to. I mean, the law prohibits him from having relationships with a 13-year-old, but he went and decided to do that anyway. So obviously, unfortunately, protective order isn't going to stop him. And this is a failure on our system more so than anything else, because if you're getting a protective order, why is there no protection that comes with it? Obviously, the protective order makes it so that if the person is caught in some proximity to you, whatever, they can be fast tracked to a jail cell. But why is there no one out there trying to catch the person trying to come in contact with you? Because the person trying to come in contact with you, they're probably planning to do you harm. And by the time the person who is a victim of them realize it, it's probably too late to get police involved. This sort of thing could happen in an instant. They could break into your house and shoot you before you have a chance to blink. What is that? How does the protective order protect you then? It really doesn't. And I'll talk more about this in detail later. But I genuinely feel like if somebody has a protective order, there should always be like officers, law enforcement, whatever, on standby in case this person tries to show up at your residence or whatever to harm you. Because otherwise, the protective order just doesn't do anything. There's been so many cases where somebody's had a restraining order, protective order, something like that, because they know that the person who they have this order against is dangerous and is seeking to cause them harm. And then nothing comes of it as far as their protection, because it doesn't really do a whole lot. Now, purely just, out of respect for this creator, I wanted to show you guys a little bit of what she did, because it's just, I don't know, it's just really sad at the end of the day that, another life was senselessly taken because of some man's ego and power trip and disregard for human life, disregard for others, and just this primordial selfishness.
Always a good day when Aerie delivers a package for you, so unbox a few of my goodies with me. First of all, we have the matching bikini bottoms. I got the bikini top the other day, but they didn't have these particular style of bottoms in store, so I knew I had to snag them online, and I just think they're so cute, and they're on sale right now. So if you haven't got a swimsuit for the summer, or even if you have and you want to splurge and get more, I loved this ribbed material. It comes in pink, black, green, and blue, and these are so cute on. This was a mini haul because I bought way too much stuff in store the other day. I absolutely loved this tank top when I saw it online. It's just a cute little baby doll tank. Let me try it on and show you what it looks like. I just love a good baby doll top, and I thought this one was so cute. It's like a blue striped material. I love this. I actually kind of want to get it in multiple colors, but how cute is this top, you guys? I love this little haul. Anyways, that's my mini haul for now. Aerie is still running a Memorial Day sale. If you guys haven't been to Aerie lately,
personally, I wouldn't wear any of these items for obvious reasons, but maybe my wife would. Yeah, this is, essentially what she did, right? She would kind of like review items that, she shopped, she tried them on, things like that. And yeah, that was her whole thing. It was very honest, humble work. And I'm not sure what her husband did. And honestly, I don't really care what he did, because at the end of the day, he's just some vile vermin who really doesn't deserve to be cared about in this moment. So we're just not going to. Now, this creator here, he does a very good job at putting into words just the type of evil that this Duff Daddy person was, on top of just the absurdity of this terrible crime.
Yeah, this is why the choose better argument falls flat on his fucking face. All right. This lady right here was unalived by her soon-to-be ex-husband, who she had a restraining order on because he was caught messing around with a 13-year-old girl that was on the team that he coached volleyball. And so she posted this, and he unalived her in front of her son and then himself. And it was a show of power. That's what that was. It was nothing else other than, I will show you that I still control you. And the last things that she did before she was unalived was beg him for her life. And that's what he wanted. And that fulfilled his goal of overpowering someone. And that's why a hierarchy is never a good thing. Okay? We have to listen to women, and we need a world that is built around not the protection, but the liberation of women and children. It's not men's job to protect women. Again, we are the harmers to women and children. This man traumatized that young boy for the rest of his life, calling 911 when his mom has been shot. I couldn't imagine the way that feels.
I mean, he's absolutely right. In a moment, we're about to look at some statistics about domestic homicide in particular, but also violence. It's all grouped in together. But something that he said about this need to show power or dominance, whatever you want to call it, it's something that's so deeply embedded in this whole patriarchal bullshit system. And I'm sitting here just wondering to myself, like, how do we combat this? How do we stop this from happening? How do we build a future where men don't feel like they have the right to, harm their partners, their children, other people's children, and like, how do we make this less of an issue? That's the whole thing that I've been thinking since I came across this. I think about it all the time, but I mean, like I said earlier on in this video, that what we do here on this channel for the most part is we hold men accountable for the evil shit that men do. And honestly, I feel like it starts at like a systemic level, right? We already talked a little bit about like the protective order, for instance, and how it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't actually punish the men who are seeking to harm somebody, even if they have a protective order against them, because it's a piece of paper at the end of the day. There's nobody outside their home watching for somebody to show up and arrest them for doing so or breaking the protective order, not wearing an ankle monitor that alerts the police when they come too close to the person in question. There's nothing stopping them. There is no like immediate consequence that gets in the way of them being able to do this stuff. Like, I feel like for these type of people, the only way you can stop it are hard deterrents. And then additionally, when you move away from that, from the system, there has got to be some cultural changes. I mean, these manosphere men and these people who think they're entitled to women and stuff and become violent and aggressive when they don't get what they want, they perpetuate that, and they fill up the minds of younger generations who watch these podcast bros and all these people speak like this and speak ill of women and speak ill of feminism, etc. And then you continue this horrible cycle because they grow up thinking that they're superior to women, that they aren't equals, that they have this entitlement whatsoever, and that they can do whatever they want. And so they take whatever they want, and then you wind up with these absolutely horrifying situations. I just want to take a brief look at some statistical data. I suppose I should probably actually start with this right here. So if you were ever wondering what percentage of perpetrators for homicides, things like that, are men, it is roughly 91%. So men are responsible for roughly 91% of homicides. And then you come over here to this chart, and what this chart simply breaks down is who was the cause of the homicide in these domestic situations. So like, intimate partner for women is the biggest category. So 35% of like homicides towards women is usually caused by an intimate partner. So like a husband or a boyfriend, something of that nature. And I know some people have this misconception that like people are being harmed like this by people they've never met before. No, in fact, a lot of the time, and like you've just seen, it's usually by like an intimate partner or a family member, friend, something of that nature. And it's pretty clear to me that Sarah knew that her husband was dangerous, because the first thing she sought was a protective order against him. And it is extremely wise to be cautious, especially of a man who is willing to take advantage of a child and harm a child. That is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, a dangerous man, somebody who you absolutely will want to protect yourself against. And I know there's a lot of really out of touch men out there in particular who say, well, why don't you report your abuser? Why don't you go to a judge or whatever it is? Why don't you take him to court? It's because the second you do something like that, you act proactive against dangerous men. They can cause you serious, irreversible harm at any moment, just like what happened to Sarah. This shouldn't be the case. There shouldn't be this harrowing fear of exposing your abuser or someone just like the monster who perpetrated this. But it's the reality that we have. And it's my hope that there's going to be more changes in the future. And I think there needs to be more men, especially joining alongside the feminism movement and trying to actually openly understand the struggles that women go through and why so many of these issues are such a problem, instead of trying to just say not all men every time this sort of thing comes up. It's like, okay, sure. But at the same time, even though it might be not all men, for some reason, it's always a man. And that's enough reason for women to be skeptical, cautious, and outright incendiary towards men. But at the same time, for some reason, those people, they choose not to understand it. They choose to instead be offended and feel like they're being personally attacked because, you invite a woman over to your house and they say, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. They're like, well, why? I'm not dangerous. They don't know that. You could be a wolf in sheep's clothing. And for a lot of women, that is not a risk worth taking. Now, Sarah obviously married this man, so she likely didn't expect him to be this absolutely heinous individual, but it turned out that he was, which is a prime example of exactly what we were just talking about. Anyway, that's really all I got for you guys today. Obviously, rest in peace to Sarah, and thoughts and prayers, all of that for her family. It's sad. All of this is so unbelievably tragic and sad.